Hey guys, how you doing? This is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. And on today's Servant Leadership Sunday, we're going to talk about this concept that development takes time, right? On this channel, we talk a lot about the process, right? Going through the process, understanding the process, defining the process, appreciating the process. But inevitably, in a lot of my conversations, most people want to figure out ways to necessarily not to skip the process or not go through it, but to shorten or curve the shorten the learning curve or shorten the process. And one thing I want to be caution or caution you about is it's I understand the need to want to get to where you're going, right? I get that. I understand the desire to say, hey man, I need this thing to happen right now because I got these deadlines, or I'm trying to become this type of person, or I feel like I've lost time doing other things that I wasn't supposed to do. So now I want to rush. I want to jump all in. But I want to caution you because development takes time. And regardless of when you started, the learning curve, right? It's still the learning curve. It takes a certain amount of time to develop a discipline. It takes a certain amount of time to develop a skill. It takes a certain amount of time to really become proficient at that skill that you've learned, right? And then to understand why these steps are important, right? For instance, back when I used to be in sales and sales training, right, and teaching people how to cold call and then, business to business sales, there was a script that we would give out. We would give out a script, right? And the script you had to read verbatim. When you first started on a sales team, right, or and you would pick up the phone, you had to read that script verbatim because each component of that script was written with a roadmap in mind, right? So you had your opening, you had your middle, then you had your closing, right? You had your questions, and the questions were designed to invoke reactions, right? To get the person talking, to understand the need, then supply the need, to help create the need in some ways, and then to help supply the need, right? But the script was designed to make people purchase something, not for them to feel like they were sold something, right? At the same time. And you would find the tendency that when people started having success, they would try to shorten the script or get to the close too soon or shorten the process, if you will, on the call. And then they would start, you would see their sales start to dip because they didn't really understand. They knew how to read verbatim and they knew how that the script worked, but they didn't understand why. They didn't understand the why behind it. They didn't understand the process that went into that script and the different components of that script. And the same thing happens in business where, there's one aspect of understanding the ins and outs of your company. Then there's the second version of that, or the second step to that, which is making your company more efficient, more productive, and making things flow better, right? But in order to really work on something and really to make it more productive and to adjust or critique something, you need to understand how it works completely in the first place, right? So in consulting, there are 30, 60, 90-day action plans. You have other plans and things like that. But when you're talking about working on the process of the company, right? The first 30 days, you're really observing, right? You're really asking questions. You're really, picking people's brains. Why do you feel this way? How does this work? Right? The second 30 days, you're really now kind of like in the mix of it. Now you're doing some work, you're still asking some questions, but you're now involved in the process. You're seeing what it takes. So now you have a pretty good grasp. I'm not saying you understand the whole thing, but you have a pretty good grasp. In the last 30 days, now you're fully immersed. You're walking through this without somebody, right? Without any input. You're looking at this completely again, but you're actually doing the work now. You're knee deep in it. And after that, you're going to make a recommendation based on what you've understood and what you've seen over those 90 days. And that recommendation is now based on experience. So now you understand the process, you understand the business process, policies, and procedures. So now you have the information you need to adjust them. And what I'm saying to you is if you shortcut that process, things will start going wrong and you really won't know or have the ammunition you need to find out why. Now I did a little graphic the other week that said if you want to shorten the learning curve, hire a consultant. And that's true. There are ways to shorten the learning curve, and usually that's bringing somebody with the expertise in that can explain to you why certain things should be done a certain way and why they work that way, right? So it's not that you're not getting the information. You're getting the information from somebody that's already experienced what it is that you're currently dealing with in your company, right? So those things, what I'm saying is, in short, the process is going to enrich you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a even when you talk about in your personal life, right? Being a husband, you got to go through the process, man. You can read all the books you want on how to be a good husband, and it's great to read. Just like you can read all the books you want on you go to school for your business degree and things like that, but that doesn't make you an entrepreneur. It gives you the principles of how to run a business, but it doesn't turn you into something, right? That meshing of education and experience comes together, and now you're powerful. Well, the same thing with anything in life, whether it's personal or professional. Once you get that information, that book smart, right? You get your book smart, there needs to be some practical application of what you learn, right? Faith without works is dead. Once you hear a principle in scripture, right? Like they say, let's talk about tithing, since that's a hot button topic. We can talk about it. You don't really understand the benefit of tithing until you actually do it, or sowing, or giving, right? There are things that need practical application. I like to say there's wisdom, there's information applied and used and really understood turns into something called wisdom. So information should eventually turn into something we call wisdom, something that you could practically use and really understand and be able to explain. Now, I got some scriptures here that I want to talk about when it comes to development takes time. And it's Hebrews chapter 12, verse 11, right? The scripture is based on discipline, but it really hones in and keys in on the concept I'm trying to teach, or not trying to teach, but the concept I'm trying to explain, where it says development takes time. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 11, it says, "For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but it later yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained in it." The scripture is very clear. It's not pleasant to go through the process of discipline, development, or they're pleasurable parts, right? But when you're it's not the funnest part of the process of the life cycle of the growth, right? The growth process. It's not the funnest part when it comes to development or discipline, but it's necessary. And there's a reward, and it yields something. It produces something, right? The discipline, the development produces a better you, produces a you that can handle the blessings that you've been believing and working for. So although it seems painful at first, it's going to then turn it, just like working out. Working out is, I do it, right? But it's not the funnest part, right? What you want to get to is, you want to get to the health benefits. You want to get to the physical, the looks, right? The stamina, whatever it is. But if you don't go through that process, that's not the funnest, right? For at least for me, which is the working out, the lifting weights, the running, the boxing, whatever it is you do. I box a lot, right? I like to move around with the hands after I work out, right? After a good strength training session, it's nothing like hitting the bag or loosening up your body, right? Throwing some combinations, right? Or some head work or whatever it is, right? It's gonna get you loosened up, man, because when you lift weights, everything's tight, right? Everything's tight once you're done. And the workout or jump rope after that kind of loosens you back up to go about your day. But without the unpleasant part of working out, right? The pain, the I don't want to do this, the pushing yourself, you won't be able to produce the body and the health that you want, right? I mean, most of it is eating, but this is not a health channel, but right? Without that exercise, there's still going to be some things lacking in performance, right? So the second thing is, well, I got another scripture. It's Proverbs chapter 12, verse 1. It says, "Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid." Right? Whoever loves discipline, whoever loves development, is smart, right? Because there really is no other way to better yourself. So you have to fall in love with the thing. Like Mike Tyson said something. He said, "Discipline is doing what you hate like you love it." And I thought that was really powerful, because it's true. If you could commit to something you don't like you love it, man, you're going to go far in this life. And I got one other scripture. I got to flip the page, right? And this is Romans chapter 12, verse 2, right? And this is talking about specifically for the believer, the separation or being different than the world that we live in. Well, the same is in business, right? I'm gonna use this concept. I'm gonna read it. It's really a scriptural business or spiritual concept, but it's really applied to business and really carving out what's going to make you the expert and the person that somebody would want to do business with as opposed to the guy down the street that offers the same product, right? And it says, Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. The first part is do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Part of the way you're going to differentiate yourself from your competition is the renewing of your mind or how you think or not being conformed to just the way the industry moves, right? There are guys that I look up to in this industry. I mean, I look up to John. I like John Maxwell. I like E.T. the hip hop preacher, right? I even like Wallow and Gil. I like some of the things Wallow does, like there's certain things, right, that really pull me, right? That I can be like, man, I feel the fire, right? Like I feel what you know what I mean? I feel what you're kicking out. But there's only one me, right? And whatever speaks to me and my heart and my passions, I now have to give that away, right? I can't give it away in the way that anybody else. So I got to take some time to renew my mind on who I am. And then I can't be transformed to the industry. I got to bring something new to the market. Well, the same is true for you, but that takes development. That takes seeing what works and then honing it. And it's not necessarily recreating the wheel, but it's understanding your call within that wheel, right? So once again, this is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group telling you that development takes time. So let patience have her perfect work, man. Go through the process. You'll thank yourself later. Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. Y'all be blessed. Peace.